What triggered you to
I
relapse?
found out my husband was a homosexual.
How did that make you feel?
Terrible. It made me feel like he stole a lot of years from my life. We were together for 12 years. So we got together when I was 28 or 29. And then I found out when I was 40 that what was going on. And it made me feel like, when I say he stole a lot of years, meaning like, those 12 years, I could have been spending them with somebody that I was going to spend the rest of my life with instead of somebody that really didn't like women. It was very hard. It was very hard.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm so sorry that happened to you. How did you find out?
He was in the shower, and I needed to get our 401k account password and username from him. And so he said, oh, it's in my phone, go in the notebook. It's the only thing in the notebook. So I picked up his phone, I went in the notebook, I wrote it down. And then before I put the phone back down, I said, oh, let me look at his pictures. And I looked at the pictures, and the first picture was him sitting on our brand new couch, so obviously it was a new picture, with another gentleman performing oral sex on him. So I took the phone. He had like a very extensive Jordan sneaker collection, and so I took like his 10 favorite pairs. I took them out back, I put them on the grill, I lit them on fire. And then I took his phone and I put it in the toilet, and then I got in my truck and I left.
Have you seen him since?
I have not. My mental health is okay. It's I have a little bit of anxiety, and I think I'm have a little bit of depression, but that's about it. When I'm alone, I think a lot about about my parents and my sister and her husband and their kids, my nieces and nephews. I also think a lot about my other sister and brother who are twins. My sister Nicolette, she passed away of brain cancer a couple years ago. She was only 22. And I also think about my brother Dan that passed away. And I think about the fact that I'm getting older and that I don't want to keep living this life. It's a lot. And I've been dealing with some medical issues lately. I'm diabetic and I wasn't taking my insulin. And so they had to, a couple weeks ago, cut off some of my toes because of that. And so that's something that I'm having a hard time with. And then this week I have to go in the hospital to get some surgery on my head because I fell down a flight of steps and there's bleeding on my brain. So it's causing me to have trouble seeing because of the pressure. So they're going to go in and tie off the veins that are bleeding. So that's kind of, stressful just because I never had to deal with medical issues like this before. So I have not spoke to my parents since I relapsed. It's not that they won't speak to me, they would, but I just can't bring myself to. So every time I've ever been in active addiction, the first thing I've done is cut off everybody because I figure it's better to not expose them to me like this. The only one I spoke to was my Aunt Mabel, who is the one that just passed away. Because like I said, she was, no matter what, supported me, no matter where I was or what I did. I actually was just speaking to my caseworker about this because with my inheritance, I don't want to, blow the money, and I just don't want to, I know my Aunt Mabel's passed away, but I don't want to hurt her by blowing the money that she spent her whole life saving on drugs. And I know myself, and I know I could easily blow the $177,000 she left me. I could blow it easily in a couple months. I had gotten a lawsuit settlement from being hurt at the scrapyard about a year ago, and it was only $60,000, but I went through it in 2 months. So I didn't mind spending that money because it came from, just a business, but this money is, from somebody that's very important to me and from somebody I just wouldn't want to let down. I have lost a lot, actually. I lost my career. I lost my relationship with a lot of family. I lost my chance at being, a good sister and a good aunt and a good daughter. And I lost, seeing my parents, go into retirement. And I've lost a lot, but it is what it is. And, I know that there's not much I can, I can't change it now, so there's no point in obsessing over it. If anything horrible happened to me. I've been beat up a couple times, and I, I've been robbed. Just like everybody else. It's nothing different than anybody else's experience. I had a great childhood. I had very supportive and very wonderful mother and father. My mom, Laura, and my dad, Frank.
What's going on? We can't be over here.
That's what I be talking
They
about.
told us to come here.
One said to say one thing, and then the next one to say
The officers just told us we could
Yeah,
see
we're
doing
an educational documentary on drug addiction.
Once we're done with that, can you?
Yeah, we're out. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
It'll be like
Yeah, no
10
problem.
minutes. We'll be done, y'all.
Alright, cool.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate
Thank
y'all.
Thank you. Y'all very
Okay.
respectful. I like that.
So besides my parents, I also was raised by my grandparents, my mother's mother and father, and my grandmother's two sisters. I was raised at the beach in Cape May. I was a gymnast when I was younger. I was also on the swim team in high school. I was a diver. When I graduated high school, I joined the United States Army. I went to basic training in Fort Jackson, went to AIT in Fort Lee. My first duty station was Fort Drum, New York. I joined the Army because my brother was in the Army and I wanted to be, close to him. My brother, unfortunately, died from addiction in 2016. He was found, he was on my grandmother's spare bedroom. He was in my grandmother's spare bedroom, and she found him in the morning, and he was passed away. He was only 36 years old. I have a little sister. Her name is Ashley. Her and her husband have 4 daughters and 1 son. My nieces and nephew, they're amazing. When I just relapsed after 8 years sober, I was living with my sister and her husband and the kids, and relapsing there with the kids, I just had to get out because I didn't want to expose them to that. They're little kids, and I came back up here. I currently live in a shelter. It's called Dorothy's Place. It's at 25th and Lehigh. It's okay. It's nothing wonderful, but it's nice. I've been up here since last January, and it's not the same as it was before. It's a lot different now. There's tons more cops. There's a lot of people that die. There's a lot of people with big wounds and open sores all over their body. It's a lot. I think it's just the difference in the drugs. Mine began by when I was discharged from the United States Army. I had a medical discharge, and when I got out, I went to see a doctor that my insurance company assigned me to. Her name was Danae Marino, and she was pretty much just a drug dealer. My first visit to her, I left there with a prescription for stimulants, sedatives, and benzos and painkillers. That was my first visit to her, and I didn't even tell her that anything was specifically wrong with me, and she had me taking, all these narcotics, and slowly but surely she increased them, and after seeing her, when I wasn't able to see her anymore, I turned to street drugs.
And with your drugs, do you snort, smoke, or shoot it?
I inject them.
And how often or how many times a day do you do it?
About every 4 or 5 hours.
What's your withdrawal symptoms like?
I get like very anxious, and my body has a lot of it's very painful, but also it causes me to be, sick. I vomit, and it's just very
Alcoholic for you, right, love?
it's more uncomfortable than anything. It's hard to explain, but it definitely takes over and makes you only think about being able to go get more drugs to get, so that you feel better. I survive. I'm on disability. I get Social Security disability. I also get a disability check from the United States Army. And recently, my great aunt, who was my biggest supporter and probably one of the most important people in my entire life, she passed away, and she left me a decent amount of money in trust. And so I used, between those 3 different things, I've been able to survive.
Do you have children?
I do not have any children now.
If I could walk in your shoes for a day, what are all the things I'll be doing?
You would wake up, and in the shelter I live in, you have to be downstairs by 9 a.m. because everybody takes turns cooking breakfast, and then you have to leave, and you would get on the bus, come down the way, and you'd buy yourself something to feel better, and then you'd spend the rest of the day really just walking around and doing different things.
Tell us, how old are you, Melinda?
I'm 42.
And where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Cape May, New Jersey.
Who told you about Kensington?
Nobody really told me about it. I just came down here to buy stuff, and I just kind of ended up spending more and more time down here and then staying down here.
So besides dope, do you have any other habits?
I do not. I used to smoke cigarettes, but I quit that 10 years ago.
Okay. What advice will you give to those who are in recovery?
I mean, I don't have much advice to people that are in recovery because I have not been able to hold myself there yet, but I guess the only advice I could really give them is to just keep working on it every day, because I think that that's the reason when I let myself go relapse, it's because not only because of what I found out about my husband, but it's also because I stopped thinking about how important recovery was, and I started in my head glorifying getting high again, and which is something I should have never done, because there's nothing, this is a terrible way to live. And even though I could kid myself and try to convince myself that it's that I'm happy, I'm really not. I know I'm not.
What do you miss most about your sobriety?
I miss when I was sober, I had started working again. I worked at Pep Boys, and I miss that. I miss having a career. It really was very important to me, and the structure was also very good to me. It was also something that I enjoyed doing, and when I relapsed, that was the first thing that went, because when you can't get high and have a job, you can have a job, but you can't have anything where you're, the manager of anything, because you just can't function properly, so.
Right. Okay, we got 3 more questions. If your friends or your family see this video, what message would you like to send to them?
Just that I love them and I miss them, and I'm sorry for any hurt I've caused them, and that I hope that they know that, me not speaking to them while I'm out here has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with me. It's just because, I'm obviously ashamed and embarrassed, and I just don't want to expose them to me at, my worst, which is, what I am down here. But my mom believes in tough love. And so that's the way she was with my brother. And so when my brother became an addict, her choice was to just stop speaking to him, cut him off completely, and that's what she called tough love. And she learned that tough love thing from Naranan. And then he died, and when he died, they hadn't spoken so long. And so even if I decided that, I wanted to speak to my mother, I'm pretty sure that she would have the same, ideology with the tough love thing, which I think is not good for anybody, because that's not tough love. That doesn't even make sense. Like,
there's no tough in love. That's
exactly.
my motto. No tough in love.
No,
Love
really
is love.
isn't. Yep.
Okay, let's wrap things up. The last question I have got for you is, there is a lot of people in this world who judge people who struggle with drug addiction. What's your message for the world?
That there's no, you can judge somebody that is a drug addict, of course, but you have to understand that although a lot of people say drug addiction's a disease, I don't believe that, because I feel like, a disease is cancer. You have no choice when you get cancer, but drug addiction, you wake up and you can choose to, you can choose to go get high, or you can choose to, if you want to get sober, go, to the methadone clinic or whatever. I started getting the Suboxone shot about 3 months ago, and it's been, I don't know, it's been something that I never thought I would do, but it definitely has made things a little bit better. So I guess, I don't know, you can't really judge someone that's an addict just because although it's not something that they can help, it's also not something that they can just change immediately. Of course, if I could wake up tomorrow and not be sick and not have any cravings and just go back down to my family's house and live down there and happily ever after, of course I would. But, I've tried that, and it's just not something that works out.
Okay, this is the last one. If people want to reach out to you to help you, do you have, what are some things that you're in need of? The train pass.
If people would want to help, not just me, but anybody out here, I mean, it's getting warmer now, thank God, but when it's cold out here, there's tons of people out here that are freezing. Something simple as jackets and blankets, and you have to remember that when people live out on the streets, every time it rains, almost everything that they own gets destroyed. And so, and not only that, but people steal people's stuff all the time. So stuff like socks and sneakers and backpacks, they sound like silly things, but they're really important to people out here.
Got you. All right, dear, what was your name once more?
My name is Melinda Wilson.
Melinda Wilson. And Melinda, thank you for being courageous and sharing your story with us. And you definitely can get back those 8 years, and the 8 years that you just had, it don't go away. It's still there. It still counts. All right, love. You didn't lose that. So keep your head up and just keep striving to be better than where you at right now, and it'll work itself out. Just don't give up. Don't quit. All right.
Thank you.
AML family, don't be bitter. Be blessed. Until next time, we out there. Peace out.